welcome to your daily breakfast show, Your View. I am Moriah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have my lovely co-host here with me. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
This Tuesday is a bit slow. I don't know. Everybody has just been acting on slow motion.
It's been raining.
Okay.
And we've been
It rained at night.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And the weather's been so cold. So I guess
somewhat dull, because everybody has just been looking very dull. You know, that normal energy. I'm not feeling it this morning.
Why are you calling my name? Brian. I've been having headache for a very long time right now. I need to go to the hospital to find it. I hate going to hospitals because of all the issues we hear about hospitals. Well, I think I need to go to hospital today because I've been feeling very feverish and I don't know.
I understand your feeling, because when you go to hospital, it's either malaria or typhoid. They don't even do a proper check. Just say, oh, it's malaria. Oh, it's typhoid. I'm like, goodness. Do we have any other diagnosis in this country?
Every time they test you, you probably would have some traits of malaria, so they're right, it's justified. However, they might be covering up some other issues that might need to be treated. I also intend to see a doctor today.
By the way, this is lemon and ginger. It's
very nice.
I don't like what people are doing with this tea matter. Nima,
I'm trying it for the first time and it's lovely.
Very nice.
Lemon and ginger.
I'm going to enter tea matter soon too.
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm having coffee and coffee creamer. I'm a coffee person. And I know, I guess it's not working for my weight because I'm trying to lose weight, but I'll join you guys on the tea.
No, I'm a coffee person too, but you know, you got to do tea. Tea is just,
yesterday, the research we read, part of those things that causes cancer. Coffee is part of it.
Okay, now. What will we eat? Everything is causing cancer right now. But I'm good. I had a very busy weekend. I drove all the way to... I wasn't around yesterday, so I couldn't talk about my Pastor Itwa experience in Trinity House. So I drove all the way to the island myself for the first time, and I was feeling really good. And even when it was raining and everything, I had fun.
As a grandmother, after how many years, you're just driving. You should be ashamed of yourself.
There are a lot of women like me who feel they can't learn to drive in their 30s. It doesn't matter. You can still learn and you can be a good driver and confident.
Anyways, I have to jump. I have a news mention. But Nima, how are you doing? Hi, school friend.
News mention. She's fine. Nima
is not in the mood.
The news mention: the federal government has officially banned the consumption of local gin, popularly called ogogoro, following reports of the deaths of quite a number of people consuming the alcoholic drink. Now, we heard people died in River State, and I think is it Ondo? Okay, Ondo State, I believe. And because after drinking ogogoro, and they had this methanol poisoning.
The thing is, it's been like based on investigations, it's been proven that most ogogoro, most of all those locally manufactured drinks are not actually manufactured. They are chemicals diluted with other waters and all that to get it. So it's not like the process before to get ogogoro was to extract alcohol from the palm wine and then distill it to the point of ogogoro, but we don't go through anymore. What most people drink on the street right now is just chemicals and of
combined
course
substances
that will have side effects on the body. And the government saying this, please, beyond the people thinking that it's just the government's declaration, it is for your own good to stay away from all those ogogoro, the opaying, all those stomach stuff.
Those shekpes.
Yeah, please. Just
really? Can you ban shekpe?
Even cancer. It's been traced to cancer and liver.
Even, what's it called? These people say nagbo.
Yes.
Hockey nagbo. I think
I still give my children nagbo.
No, the one you do by yourself.
What you do is you take the herbs and you boil it yourself. You know the ones that they sell in the motor parks, those yellowish, orangish looking things. They mix it with very, very high concentration of ogogoro inside. You know, and these things goes direct to your liver. Do you understand? People are just dying anyhow because of things. So I think it's a good law that the federal government, but it goes beyond passing the law. They should now enforce it because a lot of these people hawking those things, I think they should start apprehending them. Yeah.
Okay. Nima, you're not saying anything on this matter.
I was going to talk about enforcement, but she just nailed it.
Okay. All right. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll look through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, let's start with the Punch. Major headline. Tension rises as senators, reps-elect pick leaders today. Saraki, Dogara, Sean meeting with Oshimbajo. APC governors hold talks. Tight security as Buhari inaugurates 8th National Assembly. You can see here protesters of the APC against Saturday's mock elections to pick National Assembly leaders. Lagos oil field to begin production this year. Interagency rivalry rocks Aso Villa. I didn't read that. Court reopens Funshaw Williams murder case. Military moves command center to Borno. Eligibility suit. Court orders Bajabia Miller to appear June 18th. Federal government warns against consumption of Ogogoro. We just talked about that. And Adebayo's Kingsmen in Nigeria sad over family crisis. Okay, we'll talk about the tension in Senate a bit later because it's the headlines across board. So we'll talk about it a bit later. Any other story that jumps at you here?
The presidential villa.
Yeah, you read it?
Yes.
What happened? What was that about?
It's about the fact that there are issues between interagency, the DSS, that's the Department for State Security, and the army. I think, yeah, that's the army. Not the army. I think it's. I can't place the name. I think it's.
But the agencies
involved, not Aso Villa, to protect the president.
Okay.
There's a quarrel concerning who would give authority because one of the aides to the president wrote a letter instructing all of them to send security agencies, and some of the security agencies did not reply because they felt that on whose authority was the letter sent because there's no there's no chief of staff. You know, that brings us back to the fact that we don't have a cabinet yet.
All right.
Now also the moving, because there's renovation going on in Aso Villa. And who is in charge of the renovation? Who would give orders? Who would say this is where everything should go? That's what the rivalry is about. Okay. The rivalry is about the fact that we don't have a state. We need to have a chief of staff.
Baba is coming back today.
We need to have a chief of staff.
Baba is coming back today.
Yeah,
so before the end of the week, I'm sure he will give us a chief of staff. Don't worry.
Second week.
Let's pick up. Let's pick up one more story. Any other story in Punch?
This okay. I thought that was.
We should move on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to The Nation. Saraki dumps APC to run with Ekwere Madu. Block votes planned collapse. Ex-Kwara Governor Shons Ndume Goje others. You can see our president here with other heads of states and presidents. Barack Obama and others. G7 leaders back Buhari's battle against Boko Haram. There is clearly no religious basis for the action of the group. Their atrocities show that members of the group either do not know God at all, or they don't believe in him. That's him referring to Boko Haram. Military moves command to Borno, and House Senate President Speaker will emerge today. Okay, let's talk about this Saraki issue. You want to talk about it here?
According to the reports in the Nation, Saraki and some PDP governors, you know, those people really backed by the past, the former president, had a meeting at the former Senate President's house to decide on how to vote. And you know the numbers are 49-59. If we are still divided within the APC, some supporters on the APC side, along with the PDP, would, you know, bring Saraki to his ambition. So that's the way it's going to go today.
It happens today. The voting is going on today.
We'll see
and Saraki, so for those that do not know, the APC have 59. PDP has 49. But the PDP, they are united. They know who they want. APC is a bit divided between Lawan and Saraki. So we don't know if, because I know Oshimbajo tried to bring everybody together to have one bulk vote, but Saraki's camp is like, no. So they're still trying to see if they can get votes. So it's politics playing out, and let us see what happens today. Moving on to Vanguard. Same headline, you can see National Assembly Leadership Showdown. PDP holds the ace today. Saraki, Lawan, Dogara, Bajabia Miller slug it out. Aggrieved APC members snub Oshimbajo. Governors rally PDP senators to upstage APC lawmakers. So today is a real showdown. Boko Haram, France, Canada, Germany promise to support Nigeria. Military moves command finally to Maiduguri. And Ambode sets up committee to check truck drivers' excesses. Who read that?
Yeah, I read that story about Ambode setting up a committee to check the excesses of truck drivers, and I think it's a very welcomed idea.
Committee again?
Yeah, no, it's not. No, at least the committee. The committee is like the stakeholders, the road union workers, the road safety, the what's it called, the tanker drivers themselves. Because this,
what
the case,
Mashallah working there,
hold on.
You know,
it was as a result of the what's it called, the visit he made to what's it called, and you know all the continuous road crisis that we hear of, trucks falling over and all that. So I believe that this committee is supposed to start checking truck drivers. Please, I hope they start checking them from the point of what's it called?
Of loading.
So that by the time they are on the roads, they know that they are in a top shape to be on the road.
Fortunately, these are all tankers, and this one is another one that happened recently in Igbe Kotun. That is why he decided to call this committee, set up this committee. I hope the resolutions of the committee will be
because the just to
the
check,
bodies already existing do their job.
My husband was telling me yesterday that most of these truck drivers, you know, that the ones in top shape, they're already fully, because of the crisis, so those ones have been used. So the ones you find are rickety looking ones, you understand? So I think it's a very welcomed idea.
I'd like to comment on your statement, and I just know because I know you were joking about it, but a lot of people think that way. There's a lot of comparison between Ambode and the former governor, and I realized that we should just say we are giving the president time to do what he wants to do. We should give the governor of Lagos State time to do what he wants to do. His model will be different. No, I know she was joking.
Well, his
model will be different. It's not going to be the style of Fashola, but he has his own plan. And they should let him just do what he wants to do.
We'll give him time, you know, but we have to compare. I mean, that's the way of life. Daily Sun, the big fights. Okay, still referring to the Saraki Lawan. We'll get back to. We'll hopefully get results by the end of the day. We'll know. Let's move on. Let's see. Alleged 275 million naira fraud. My story by Okiro. Protest rocks Accra over the new DG. Right? Okay. And we can see a picture here of the 8 billion naira currency scam, Central Bank of Nigeria. So more people are still being arrested.
I like the way the case is going. I'm impressed with the moves.
Interestingly, I'm so surprised.
It seems as if there's going to be an indictment, there'll be punishment, and that's the conviction. I think that's the deterrent we need. See conviction for people who have committed crimes to the point where they are sentenced to prison or whatever.
Okay.
This Akure story.
Okiro.
What happened? Because you are saying that the youth took to the street.
He was saying,
the lawmakers.
What I read.
I mean, kingmakers, yeah.
Oh no, the Akure thing.
Yeah, the Akure story.
They're having issues with, they're protesting, saying that they should bring back the, I can't remember the name of the post.
If I have the story, not from the Sun though, is about the new DG. That's the head of their people. They're saying that the governor is imposing someone on them rather than following traditional process to pick from the
and delaying the coronation until they.
I say waiting concern government and
No, but that's the way it is now. Unfortunately, government is now part of every traditional rulership.
Like
that is the way it is now. Every state governor,
they said it was the kingmakers, but they said that the governor is influencing
a particular person that is, is his own.
So they are protesting against the kingmakers.
Anyway, they've delayed the coronation, so hopefully they'll start to investigate and we'll see what's going.
There shouldn't be any.
Okay, The Guardian, our last paper for this morning, can see our president amongst other heads of state in front row. That's important because no matter how big or so, no matter the where you are placed is an indication of how important you are.
Yes.
I hear you.
That's our own interpretation. Nobody said that. So because they can't put the bad man in the back, no matter how short he is. So we know that important people are in front. So our president is in the front. Yeah. Revolt looms in APC over National Assembly leadership. We talked about that already. Military sets up command control center in Maiduguri. Nobody mentioned that yet. NIPB moves to rescue over 800 megawatts stranded electricity. Did anybody read that? Nobody read that. But Baba's coming back today, Sha. That's good news.
Yes.
They're all looking forward to his cabinet. Yes. And we're excited that Fashola was part of his team to Germany. That's looking very promising. Meaning that maybe because they're discussing power over there. So maybe Fashola went to go and get some enlightenment on how to handle the power.
All of you that have given Fashola portfolio before he gets it, please, let's just calm down.
Yes, he
will get something.
You cannot divorce Fashola from
this administration.
I mean, the way the APC became a game changer.
Yes.
It's the Fashola factor.
Did you see how Fashola was campaigning all Lagos?
Please,
we are expectant. Please, don't put our action governor in one corner. We're waiting for you. All right, we'll take a break. When we return, yesterday we mentioned something about fake Nigerian doctor. I think it was something Ugu. He was a fake Nigerian doctor. Yesterday we talked about that on the newspapers. But today we're going to zero in on fake doctors in Nigeria. Why are they still practicing? Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A fake Nigerian doctor and a senior official of the Federal Ministry of Health, Martins Ugu, who has been practicing as a medical doctor for close to 10 years, was arrested by the police upon discovery that he stole the medical license of his friend. He was found to have impersonated his friend, who is undergoing a residency training program, I think in Jos, I believe. Ugo, who was due actually for promotion, has been working as a director in the Federal Ministry of Health since 2006, until he was recently indicted by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria as an imposter. What are your thoughts on this? And we're talking about this because initially we didn't want to talk about this, but when we realized that there are lots of people out there complaining about fake diagnosis, fake doctors, people just not having a clue. Because I know my child wasn't feeling well, and there's been some kind of rash. And when my friend was saying maybe it's allergies, someone says it's rashes, is this, I don't understand what it is. And we've had it for a few months. We've done everything. We use all the medications. We've gone to several doctors. I went to all the various hospitals, like 4 different doctors on this matter. They've all prescribed different things. Up until I went to look for agbo. The boy has been drinking agbo, and he's been pooping one kind of funny poop. I had to stop the agbo, you know. So like, now somebody was saying around, if you're abroad now, they would have actually done a proper test and know the source of this. So is it that we have fake doctors that don't have a clue what they're supposed to do, or we have doctors who know but they just don't have, doctors who are actually competent but they don't know,
trained but incompetent?
They're trained, God bless you, they're trained but incompetent. I'm not sure, because it's really confusing these days.
The worst part, the scary part is this story came out based on someone about a director. You know, it's not just a menial position in any form. This is a director where there was supposed to be proper investigations before you get employed. Your papers are supposed to be checked. You can't just submit a name. If you're using somebody else's license, are you running with the person's name also? You know, there's a whole lot that depicts a systemic problem that we need to check. We had someone on the show in our anniversary, and I think it was who mentioned the education, or one of the guests mentioned education, but I can't remember who specifically, but they mentioned the fact that educational system needs to be checked. This is where the problem starts from. If you don't get education right, you churn out unemployable people, or, like we said, certified incompetent people who will now be killing. So what do we need to go back to the educational system?
Let's go to the real experience. I mean, has anybody experienced this before? Because I know many people are saying that they've gone through this. Let me come to Uwa or Nema.
Unfortunately for me, I've never had such an experience.
Okay.
I've always had the best doctors right from childhood, working with my family and myself. I carefully select my doctors. I look at them carefully. If I feel that this doctor, maybe by looking at him, or maybe I feel he's too carefree for me, I'd rather go to my family member that is a matron, the midwife, someone that is qualified, that is experienced also, who probably has been in government practice, or government hospital practice for years. Now, the issue for me is that the Medical and Dental Association, I don't know how they do their induction into the Medical Association, but I know that as lawyers, when we are called, there's a book. Every year that you're called, there's a book of your name, pictures, and everything, so that when you want to take an employment, someone can easily ask for the year of call. When they have it, they trace it to the MBA, the year of call, they'll take that book. They can confirm your picture and everything in that book to confirm whether you were actually called to or qualified to work somewhere. For someone to grow up to the point of level 12 in the 13 in the Ministry of Health, that person, and they couldn't trace his year of induction into the Medical Association, there's a problem with the point problem that systemic problem from the point of association, because these are things they can check. Other professions check it. There are ways we go about it. You can know from, even in practice, you can know in the courtroom when someone is not in your year of call. When it comes to court and says it's from 2003 or something, and you're called that same year, you can easily tell.
Let me throw another angle to this. In some instances, there are Nigerian, maybe doctors abroad. Maybe they make one tiny mistake. They are well trained. They're doing very well abroad, and they make maybe one silly mistake, and their license were taken away from them abroad. They come to Nigeria, and they start practicing.
And say, I returned.
And they are returned. Now, those kind of people, they have the knowledge. They are trained. It was some kind of error. Because of the laws abroad, they were bad. Now, they're in Nigeria practicing. Would you say those ones shouldn't be practicing?
They shouldn't, Muriel. I have a case like that. There's a particular doctor. In short, the woman was that worked with him was telling me all his secrets. he's just a money venture guy. He's not focused on treating, because when you park in his hospital, you go and check the kind of car you are parked, that is parked out. I'm telling you. No. She had to resign. She's working with a world-class company. She said she had to, that she could not understand the ethics of doing those kind of things. You're there to save lives. Now, I have two clear cases. This thing is very dear to my heart. I say that I'm not feeling too well. Honestly, I don't fancy going to any hospital in this country, because most times they just use your life as an experiment, trial and error. My sister-in-law that passed, God bless her soul, about 9 years ago now, she had a cesarean session. You know, we went there, we visited, I gave out blood, I was breastfeeding, everybody, we called everybody in the middle of the night to give out blood. You know, only for us to, we were tired, we were exhausted. We said, okay, let us quickly just go over to the shopping mall, quickly eat something, because we had not eaten all through the night. We had children all over the place. I was worried. I didn't know something was burning in my heart. Only for me to get back to the room. They brought her from the theater. The room, all her bed was soaked in blood. She was bleeding, nobody knew.
Big hospital.
A big hospital, if not because my brother-in-law is just, and you know, Nigerians will just take things, we don't even want to, you know.
It's the will of God.
It's not the will of God, for goodness sake. It's not the will of God for somebody to die just for negligence and incompetence. So I don't joke with all those kind of things. It is important that even the people that have been, their licenses have been withdrawn for them, they don't have any business practicing. For the American government to withdraw their license, they did something that is worth withdrawal. So it should not be the case at all.
But, okay, I hear you. And obviously that's a very, very close case to your heart. But there are instances where it's not like the doctors, for example, someone like this now, I think he also went to medical school. I don't know if the report said that.
He did not.
He didn't go to medical school. But there's some cases where they go to medical school and for some reason, you know how our educational system is. For some bizarre reason, they couldn't get that certificate. Or they couldn't get that final document you get when you become a doctor. And because of that, they can't practice. And my friend is like, okay, you know what? Me, I have my own. Use mine, because I'm already working. Use mine to go and get a job. Now, in this country where we have very, 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 I'm not making it right. It's not right. But where we have a dearth of qualified doctors, and somebody here wants to practice, and because government has not given him his documentation, he's not able to. Is that justifiable enough for him to at least help certain people in his community?
Can I say something? You see, because the doctors they're like at the point of life and death. A doctor can kill you and a doctor can keep you alive. It is that serious. When you are at that kind of job, it is not, there's no, let me help. There is no, please, let me pass. I spoke to, during the elections.
Okay, let me speak to Cynthia. Good morning, Cynthia. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning, Mariah.
Morning, please go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
You know, this issue of doctors, I have experience recently. My daughters, both of them, they've been like over 2 months now, always sick back to back. Each time we go to the hospital, they will tell us malaria and infection. You know, at the time, in fact, we just got back yesterday. They've been admitted over a week. Last week, my other daughter became so sick again. I went to and I was so hungry. I told the doctor, please, do every check. Let's get this malaria type infection. I don't understand. Check for pneumonia, water. I started naming them for them. It was then they did all the tests and told me she had pneumonia, both of them. You can imagine. So if I hadn't insisted, I would still go there. They would tell me it's malaria and infection. Treating the wrong thing, I will go home. 2 days they are down again. So all of this, in fact, one of those occasions we admitted there, they almost killed my first daughter. They gave her a wrong injection and she started reacting to it. She was dying. I started shouting. You know, in fact, it wasn't funny at all. I was so angry. My husband even wanted to take the issue up with them. They came and started begging us. Even the doctor that administered the injection started denying. The luck I had was that when he did it, I asked him immediately, what injection did you give to my daughter? He said, Promate. I just quickly wrote it down. So at the end of it, he started denying that he didn't tell me that. Okay. I was now, am I a doctor? I'm not a medical person now. How did I know that this drug is called Promate?
Yes, Cynthia. Thank you so much, Cynthia.
Let me educate people at home. When you go to a hospital, like the one I use, what they usually do for you when you come with any complaints, they'll take your blood count. There's a level of blood count you have that indicates that something is wrong. and then they go ahead and test you for malaria or any of the parasites. I was at the hospital yesterday, I was feverish all through, but there was no malaria. So I was told to go home and rest because I had just upper respiratory infection. From the complaints I made with all the feverish and fever. Nobody will check, they will first of all check you. And then you have a file at the hospital. When it comes to it, you have a right to that file. Get the information in that file and make sure that you know there's a repercussion for every action. There should be consequences. Go to court, sue somebody.
Okay. Let me take Solomon's call. Good morning, Solomon. Are you there?
Good morning, Auntie Mariah.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah. I have an issue like this. 2012, I rushed my brother to an hospital. I don't want to mention the hospital. Do you believe that the doctor said he's suffering from meningitis? So I asked them to proceed with the treatment that I will provide the money and everything. They said, okay. They said I should pay some money. I paid some about 30,000 naira to the hospital. And they said, okay, that I should come back. They will continue with treatment. Before my mom will come back, then I said, let me run back to Unilag to do my exam. So before I could come back that evening, then believe me, in fact, I saw my brother dead. That when I came back, my mom was just crying. I was tired. I asked them, they said, okay, I asked them about the money I paid. They said, I didn't pay this, I didn't pay that. I said, is it money that you need or you do the treatment first? So I don't understand this country now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I understand. See, this is a very, very sensitive topic because almost all of us are affected. Because I even remember when I was pregnant, even not for the fact that I was reading internet, where online I was reading that at 38 weeks, a twin pregnancy, you must at least between 37 to 40 weeks maximum. You shouldn't even go past 38 weeks really. And I went to my doctor and said, okay, 30, I think we need to get these babies out in 38 weeks. Well, it doesn't matter. You know, you can wait to 40 weeks, and I'm wondering 40 weeks, okay. When the internet was telling me that maximum 38 weeks, these babies must come out. Because I heard of people where in Nigeria where the babies start suffering, they're fighting for space because they're growing rapidly. Every single day they're growing. And they start fighting for space. And one of them suffocate the other. So if you wait to 40 weeks, definitely you're going to lose one child.
Did he check you?
He checked me, everything was okay.
If he checks you and
I had at 40 weeks,
then
so
you can wait.
That might actually,
answer.
If he checks you and sees that something is wrong,
but I wanted to.
You can't always rely on internet. Then there's also this angle I want to talk about, please, before I forget, about we certifying our chemists as doctors. Because unfortunately, that's the kind of place
I do that a lot, but let me take Benga's call. You're very right. All of us do that thing. Good morning.
I have a very competent
Benga, are you there?
Doctor.
Benga, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
Moriah and every other people in the house, good morning. Yeah, first of all, I want to talk about this, the law as in the committee which our new government is setting up on checking of the tanker drivers and the vehicles. I think this thing has already been in existence with the depots. They had these things in their depots. It's just for the government to make this thing to be working.
All right. Thank you so much, Benga.
On the doctor issue.
Yeah.
Also, I have a boy. He has come to disable now because of the injection which they give to him in the hospital. So I guess the government needs to come to our aid to check all these hours as the people they employ in the hospital. So,
all right. Thank you so much, Benga. Now that I'm talking about government and what we need to do, we're going to go to the next segment. We're going to talk about autism and Down syndrome. In Nigeria, where we are still complaining here of competence.
In basic medical
medical issues. Now, when in a case like autism and Down syndrome, how do you handle and how does a Nigerian doctor help you? And we're going to talk to some people who actually have gone through this process. Autism is a neuron developmental disorder characterized by impaired social interaction, verbal and communication. Parents usually notice signs in the first 2 years of their child's life, while Down syndrome is a common birth defect that is usually due to an extra chromosome that causes mental retardation. It has been estimated that about 5 to 10% Nigerians are living with autism or Down syndrome. How can this be managed, and how do we care for persons living with this disorder, especially with what we talked about incompetent doctors within our society? So we have two experts here. We have Mrs. Delphine Arenyika, and Dr. Sinuke Uwaje. Welcome to the show, madams.
Thank you very much.
I know you've been listening to us having a conversation on fake doctors, but you're going to talk on autism. But first, I know you wanted to say something in response to these American doctors, returnees that who I was talking about. Because I know you're returning too.
Well, I just wanted to say, even though we have quite a number of physicians or doctors that are not doing what they're supposed to do, there's still some very, very committed, dedicated and honest physicians around. And there are a number of people who did not even leave the country, did their training here, are still well trained, and there are people who went outside the country to get trained, are back now just because they have a desire to make things a little better in Nigeria.
So let's not assume that all of them are bad. All right, wait, I know, not you, generally. All right, autism. We know there are people living with autism and Down syndrome in Nigeria, and we have that mentality in Nigeria. Oh, bad, I can't, God, I reject it in Jesus' name, that kind of thing. I don't know if any of your experience are going through it, or you have somebody living with autism. How is it managed, and how do we identify it early in our children?
Maybe I should talk about Down syndrome, because I have a lovely 11-year-old child.
Who put his head on my chest when
yes,
I saw him on Sunday?
with Down syndrome. It has been a very interesting ride, and I must say to everybody who has a child with Down syndrome or has a child with any developmental disabilities that you have a choice to either believe in that child or not to believe in that child. My family chose to believe in our child. Now, going back to the initial stages, I had him after waiting for quite a number of years. He has an older brother, of course. And when he was born here. It was a difficult pregnancy because, I mean, for certain other reasons. But when he was born here, and he was born by section because I was at risk. The attendant pediatrician at that time actually queried it, but never told me anything until this boy was almost 2 years old. And I was in we were in the UK on vacation, and I went for medicals. And you know how they look at you like, are you slightly stupid? Can't you see that, you know, something is wrong with your child? But my brother-in-law, who is a medical doctor, he had made all those arrangements. In retrospect, I believe he knew, but he didn't know how. You know how people are careful not to tell you certain things and all of that. Long story short, when I got back, anyway, they had the what they call a karyotype test, which confirmed that he is a trisomy 21, which is, you know, there are different forms of Down syndrome. You have the mosaic, you have different forms. And, you know, we went through the whole gamut of looking at what to do. I mean, okay, so you hit the ground running. Where are you going from here? Which is where there's a gap, because many parents, you know, I keep saying to parents who I speak with that, look, you can grieve, but for crying out loud, wake up and smell the coffee, because you have a child in your hands who needs to be managed. For every child who is successful, I know that there is an adult who believes in that child. My child is in a regular school. He's actually in year 6 and is graduating in a few weeks from elementary school. But it's taken a lot of work, a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication. And I keep saying that these children need just pure love. Now, if you go back to the other side, just like you said, people are like, no, it can't happen to me. Well, why not me? That was the question. Why not me? Why does it have to be somebody else? And until we have a mindset that these children are fearfully and wonderfully made in God's image, we will not be able to identify with them. I cannot begin to tell you the stories or things that have happened to us where people are like, even in school, even in church, people are like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Let me come to the doctor on this matter, because we've been talking about doctors in Nigeria.
Yes.
Now, you find out your child has autism or Down syndrome. What's the first thing you do? I mean, how your brother-in-law, somebody noticed and you had the test abroad. What's the next thing? Because you go here and they're wondering, I don't know. They totally discourage you. What's the next step?
Exactly. Usually, for a number of developmental disabilities, you know, if we take autism, for instance, it's the parent or the caregiver that first notices something. This child is not smiling as well as they should. This child, the older brother talked a little faster than this child. When you call his name, he doesn't answer. He's always by himself. Those are clues. And unfortunately, a number of people may actually miss them. And this is what we tell doctors now. Don't dismiss anything a parent comes to you complaining of. My child doesn't seem to be speaking well. Take it seriously, all right? So now you come to me, a pediatrician, and you say, you know, I think my child is not attaining those milestones, all right? This child did not roll over the time the child is supposed to roll over. The child is not smiling at us. The child, you know, the twin is sitting up, but he is still a little sloppy, all right? Or this child looks floppy, all right? Those are warning signs, all right? And now the training is recognize the sign early and act fast. So now a parent comes and they have this concern. Or even you as a physician, as a pediatrician, you're seeing them for their well visit, which, by the way, is not appreciated or recognized in Nigeria, because most HMOs, I'm sorry to say, they would not pay you to bring a child in for a well child care. That is the time when a pediatrician now checks the child in terms of, I'm not checking for malaria now or ear infection. I'm checking, is your child sitting up by 6 months? Can your child crawl at 9 months? Is the height and the weight, are they appropriate? All right? Is this child by 2 years, do they have up to 50 words? Those are things that we check for in well child visit, which I can't check when you bring your child in when the child has a fever. So when I begin to see these things, then I know that I, by myself, I cannot act alone. I need other specialties with me. I need a behavioral analyst or a behavioral specialist, which, by the way, we do have. They're very few. All right, I need a speech therapist with me. I need an occupational therapist. I need to even do some more of those tests. I need to do a chromosomal analysis. For a newborn that I'm seeing that has a flat face, all right, has just one crease on the hand, looks a little floppy to me. I think I hear a murmur. Those are instances that tells me, there's something wrong with this child. I need to do.
Don't they cost a lot of money? I mean, I know HMOs a lot don't cover these things. You know, the occupational therapist. You know, how did you know about it? I don't
Tell me about it.
Someone said that if you a tweet said that if you prompt antenatal care or prenatal care would prevent Down syndrome. I want you to clarify that.
That you see, because Down syndrome is not in anyone's control. That's the truth. It's a chromosomal, it's during, I mean, the doctor is here, thank God, it's during the multiplication of the cells. So it has nothing to do with your age. I mean, people, because I had my child when I was 42, but, so don't add my age. But the point is, it's not I've seen very young women who have had children with Down syndrome or autism. It has nothing to do with age. It's just a chromosomal.
Could it possibly have something to do with medication?
No,
at the earliest stage of pregnancy?
no, I did not take nothing. Like I said, I had a child before him, and there was a very long wait. I mean,
when there has a child with Down syndrome, and it's the same pattern. The distance between the child with Down syndrome and the last child she had before him, it's quite long. So I have always had the theory that it's possible that it has to do with age. So I'm happy that you're clarifying it. But you said something about your doctor noticing it as if you notice at birth. What are you supposed to do? Can you make it better? Can you correct it?
No.
Okay.
No. You see, why I mentioned that was because I wasn't told.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't told. And when I went back to this doctor and I said, but, I mean, how is it that I came to I had excellent care in pregnancy. How is it? And she said to me, oh, I didn't know how to tell you because you had such a difficult pregnancy. And I said to her, I said, you know what, I'm not an illiterate. It's not a common cold that will go away tomorrow. I have to, my child and us, we have to live through this in its entirety. I was in tears, I was upset, but then I could identify with her.
As a doctor, in that kind of situation, what would you have advised? But let me first take this call. Good morning, are you there? Oh, I think okay, let me take this. What's your response to that?
First of all, I want to talk about the incidence of Down syndrome, all right? Your chances of getting Down syndrome, of having a child with Down syndrome, increases with your age, all right? If you're over 40 and you're just beginning to have your children, or even if you have a child at over 40, you have a 1 in 400 chance of having a child with Down syndrome. But just as my aunt said here, the larger number of people having children with Down syndrome are people even less than 35. Wow. 80% of children with Down syndrome are born to women who are less than 35 years of age. I had my daughter at when I was 37. We were living in the US then. I had the option of checking if my child, while I was pregnant. I chose not to, because I thought to myself, even if I know that my child has Down syndrome, I'm still going to love that child like any other child. So there are ways that parents could know.
All right, let's take some tweets before we go to the conference. Yes.
Adewale Oshokoya says, Mrs. Delphine, you are indeed a role model and a good mom. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
And someone was asking that there's a big difference between knowing what is right and doing it. We need the solutions to our problem. Why is it hard for us to solve them?
Any other tweets? Anybody want to take them?
Bushra Adeola Adelako says, what causes autism or Down syndrome?
Okay, I think they've told us, they've answered this question. Now let's go to the International Conference on Disability. What is it about?
Okay, well, as you know, when I had my child and we're going through all of these things, like Tinuke said, you have to have a speech therapist, you have to have an occupational therapist, you have to have a support teacher in class, and the cost an arm and a leg, I can tell you that for free, right? And it hurts me because I had the chance to meet with parents who, okay, it's all right for us, we probably can afford these things. But what about those people who cannot? That means that child is condemned to a life of nothing. Because if that child cannot function in the social environment and have education, just like you were saying at the earlier segment, what's going to happen to that child? So we now came, ISAD is an international association for scientific studies on intellectual disability disorders. It's an international organization that had conferences all over the world, and they were going to have a conference. They were looking to have a conference in Africa. And a group of us thought, well, why not? I'm a parent. There are various practitioners. There's Patrick Speech Language Therapy Center. There's Down Syndrome Foundation. There's ANWAB, the Association for the Blind. There's so many people doing different things everywhere. And, there's a lot of disjointed things going on. So we came together and said, you know what, ISAD would be here as your LOC. So we set up an LOC, different players in it, and the conference itself is going to be from the 22nd to the 24th of June. That's the conference in itself. Then there's a masterclass on the 25th. Now we have 13 international speakers coming from different parts of the world, coming to educate us, just like what the person said about educating us, coming to educate people on what to do, how to handle different, not just Down syndrome or autism. It is free, but the master classes are not free.
Let me take this call. Hold on. Hello, are you there? I think
good morning.
Sorry for keeping you on. Please go ahead.
Please, I have questions to ask about these autistic children.
Yes.
Do we have a school in Nigeria that we can keep them so that they will benefit like other children? Because I have one that I feel is an autistic child. Though he's brilliant and you will not even notice, except you stay close to him. But I find it difficult to get a school, at least to back him up and to make him become an independent person. Because living with us, it depends so much on mommy and daddy. But if he should be in a boarding school or things like that, he should be able to live on his own.
Okay.
Is there anything like that?
Did you hear?
Well, unfortunately, Dotun, Akonde, who runs Patrick Speech and Language Center, is not in the country. She would have been on this show. But her son, who is autistic, is going to America to university. So I think that we as parents, we need to ensure, like my child is, in fact, he will tell you, Mom, I can do it by myself. Wow. You need to get the child to the point where the child can be independent. Dotun's son had 7 A stars in IGCSE. Wow. He is autistic. He is 16 years old. He is autistic, and in what subjects? Physics, maths, chemistry, wow. Subjects that you would never have imagined that he could. But that was with the resilience of a mom who said, you know what? This child is not going to be a problem to the society. And that's why I keep saying to parents I have the chance to speak to, give your child, some of us were the ones who deter them from what they want to be. Give you, if he's going to break the dishes, let him break the dishes. Or let him know how to wash. Let him know how to wash himself. Let him know how to dress himself. Or let him know how to do things. People with autism, I will tell you, and Albert Einstein was autistic. That is the E equals MC squared guy that we talk about. Isaac Newton, who talked about, who discovered the law of relativity, he was autistic. Yes. Whoopi Goldberg is autistic. So tell me why our children cannot achieve.
Unfortunately, we have very little time left. So I want us to just tell us, this conference is free. Where is the venue?
It's at Civic Center.
Okay, and 25th. So we can all just come to learn.
Yes,
how
please.
to take care of
22nd to 24th, the conference itself. Then there are master classes for health, for education, for employment, and also for social welfare, where practitioners can come. That's not free. You have to pay because we are being taught like the signs, the early interventions. For people in employment, you can actually employ someone with autism. You just have to create an enabling environment. A child with Down syndrome, I was watching something on TV the other day. I saw a child with Down syndrome who's a medical student in America. Yes. It can happen.
It's possible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think we appreciate you being here. I would think this is a fantastic initiative you're doing.
And it's going to be every year by the grace of God.
Yes,
this is the first
time.
And
we want parents, teachers, caregivers, everyone to come. Yes.
And if you have friends who have children, tell them it's free. You can register online.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have to close the show. Thank you again for being here. And our regards to your son.
Thank you.
I'd like to meet him more. All right. Don't forget to watch a repeat broadcast at 11:30 p.m. tonight. You can also watch previous episodes by going to YouTube/TV Entertainment and search for YourView. You can also check us on Google+. Search for TVC Entertainment. Join us tomorrow for another exciting episode on YourView. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.